All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel Living in Oregon. We're going to jump right into it. In this video, we're going to talk about the things that you need to know when moving to the Portland area in the winter. All that starts now. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Paul Clem, realtor with eXp Realty, and in this video we're going to talk about some of the things that you need to know moving to Portland in the winter. So obviously Portland has a reputation for having weather that is less than desirable, at least for some parts of the year. Now on the flip side of that, obviously this is going to be one of the most beautiful places in the country in the warmer months. So generally that's going to be from Memorial Day to Labor Day, but a big misconception is that, you know, you get into the fall and it's just going to be gray, rainy days consistently until you hit springtime again. Let me get my lighting back here. All right, the first thing that we'll talk about is it's typically going to be warmer for longer than you think. So through September, through October, really, you're going to get a lot of really nice sunny days and generally some warmer weather than what you are going to get in later fall and into the winter, where you're really living like in the mid 40s, mid 30s to maybe upper 40s, but average is going to be maybe mid to lower 40s a lot of the winter months in particular. So we don't get big crazy snowstorms and winter storms every year, but they definitely happen. We'll talk more about that in this video. You know, I think when you look at Portland and being from, again, after really kind of Labor Day, moving into the fall, the expectation is that you're gonna start getting a lot of rain. Most years, I think people are pleasantly surprised in how much warmer it stays for that much longer. So, you know, I'm sitting here mid to late December. You know, we're just about a week out from Christmas. It's a bluebird day. Now, granted, it's about 40 degrees. Obviously, you got to bundle up, but you can get days like this throughout the winter. Granted, they are few and far between. And I think the flip side of the weather, again, being a little bit warmer for maybe longer than you would think, is the winter can definitely extend into spring, more so than probably people would expect. So it's not uncommon to get snow in February, March, even April some years. So these are typically one-offs where like maybe every 3, 4, 5 years we get that snowfall in March. April is going to be like more like once every 20 years probably, but you can get some really cold weather, some really dreary, miserable weather really into May, some years even into June. So I think, again, just in terms of framing your perspective and what the weather's going to be like, going to be probably a little bit nicer than you think moving toward the end of the year. But, you know, once you hit December and then really into that early to mid spring, you can get some pretty wintry conditions. All right, so if we look at the worst of the worst when it comes to winter, like I mentioned, we're not getting big snowstorms every year. We get more ice and ice storms probably than we get big snowstorms with like 8 to 12 inches of snow or a ton of snow that falls all at once. Now, when that happens, that can really shut things down. We'll talk more about that. But what's some of the equipment that you're going to need as a homeowner moving to Portland? Are we talking shovels, you know, de-icer, salt, snow blowers, things like that? You're really not going to need much of that. I mean, a lot of people ask us, in particular with Portland, you know, there being so much elevation, you know, the West Hills, and you can live on steep streets and, you know, have driveways that are really steep. A lot of people ask us, you know, what are some of the things that you'll need? Now, if you live on a street or have a driveway that does have more sloping, you know, you might want to get a good shovel. You might want to think ahead in terms of what you need to do to be able to get out, you know, should the city not be completely shut down and you need to get out and go to work or go shopping or whatever it may be. But by and large, most people don't have a ton of, you know, winter equipment. Now, you do want to winterize your house. Primarily, that's going to be, you know, cleaning out your gutters and things like that for all the moisture that we're getting. You do want to put covers on your spigots, you know, over your exterior faucets, you know, to make sure that your pipes aren't going to freeze. A lot of, you know, you're going to want insulation on your piping as well. So there are some things that, again, you can do to winterize your house, but in terms of equipment, it's not like you're gonna need to move here and buy a bunch of stuff and do all this preparation, you know, before and during the winter in order, you know, to be able to get in and out of your house. If you are getting out of your house, though, a lot of people ask about snow chains too, or snow tires. A lot of people do snow tires because we do get enough ice, at least from year to year, where people will switch over to snow tires every year, you know, toward maybe the early part of the winter. I've never done it. I've actually never owned chains as well. So you can definitely get around, again, especially year to year. There's gonna be these one-offs, there's gonna be these exceptions, but you know, it might be a good idea to have some chains, especially if you are traveling. So if you're traveling over the pass to get to Central Oregon, to get to Bend or Sun River, or if you're going up to Mount Hood, or even if you're going to the coast, I mean, you climb up and over the coastal range, you can get some snow up on top of the coastal range when you don't have snow, say in the valley. So it might not hurt to have those snow tires or chains on you. You'll see often signage that says chains required. Again, I've never owned a pair of chains, but if you have four-wheel drive, you really can probably get just about anywhere you need to go, regardless of the conditions. I would say really the biggest thing that you're going to need in terms of equipment is going to be things to protect yourself. So waterproof clothes, waterproof jacket, big heavy winter coat that is waterproof, waterproof pants, waterproof, rain boots, things like that. Now, a lot of people talk about umbrellas. There being kind of a stigma around here for some reason, just I think probably because we get so much rain that most people are used to it. You can get a rain jacket, wear your hoodie around, and you can kind of be comfortable moving from place to place. So they say that one of the easiest ways to spot somebody who is not local is they're holding an umbrella. So no one's going to hold it against you if you're holding an umbrella. Again, probably going to be something you need, especially for the occasional downpour. Most of the rain that we get is going to be more of a drizzle and not last all day necessarily. So if you get these stretches of time where you have what they call these pineapple express or atmospheric rivers that we can get from time to time, where it's just dumping rain for 3, 4, 5 days, you might want a big heavy umbrella, if you're taking your kids or your dog out for a walk, for example, or if you just want to get out and get some fresh air. Just a raincoat alone might not necessarily do it, but especially depending on where you're coming from. If you're coming from a climate where you don't get a ton of rain, and you're really wondering, okay, what are going to be the things that I need to protect myself? Waterproof clothes, again, a big heavy waterproof jacket, waterproof pants, depending on how much time you're going to be spending outside, boots, gloves, things like that, and you should be good to go. All right, and if you are thinking about moving to Portland, as much as we love making these videos, our job is to help people relocate and buy a home, help them with their real estate needs. So if that's you, give us a call, send us a text, shoot us an email, or click the link down below in the description of the video. Schedule a Zoom call with us and we can connect and talk more about your move. Now, if this is your first time to the channel, or you've been here and you haven't already and you want to get more videos like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the little bell to get notified every time we drop a new video. All right, the next thing you should know about moving to Portland, Oregon in the winter, living here in the winter, is you really should expect for the worst. Now, we're going to get mostly consistent weather, kind of gradually worse up until January, February, and then it'll start to get a little bit better over time until you hit about Memorial Day, and then we start to get more of a majority of warmer weather and sunshine. So you get a lot of consistency, but if you don't prepare for the worst, you really can get into some sticky situations. So even if we know in the forecast that there is some really, really cold weather coming in and we're going to be getting a bunch of freezing rain and ice, or if there's snow in the forecast, we never really know what it's going to be like, and it's often worse, sometimes not as bad, but it is often worse than is forecasted. So there might be 3 or 4 inches of snow, and like a 50% chance of that in the forecast, but it ends up snowing for a couple days straight and we get like 10 to 12 inches. And when that happens, I mean, the city completely shuts down. So it's not just snow too. So there's a lot of years that we don't get snow or a ton of snow accumulation, but we almost always have freezing temperatures, and sometimes we have freezing temperatures for 4, 5, 6 days at a time. And if we get any precipitation around that time, especially before the cold weather comes in, there's just a sheet of ice everywhere, in particular in some of these areas where there is elevation. So if you do have a steep driveway or live in in an area with really like a lot of hills, you can be stuck for quite a while. A lot of people might be out at work or out and about for the day, and that cold front comes in, things start to freeze over, or the snow starts to dump. And when that happens, a lot of people can end up getting stuck. I mean, you'll see like cars being abandoned on the street. You'll see people getting stuck in places they didn't intend to be. If you see cold weather coming in, say if you're at work and it's coming in like in the evening, you're really gonna want to get out of there early enough to make sure you can get home. And people really do get stuck that way and stranded, even if it's just for like, you know, 12 hours or, you know, some duration of time that's not crazy long. It very well may be the case where at least for some period of time you're not able to get anywhere. So moral of the story there is prepare for the worst for sure. I mean, you're probably not going to get it every year, but you might want to have equipment in your car, you know, that would last you 24 hours should you get stranded somewhere, because again, that really does happen. Portland doesn't have this huge infrastructure for addressing snowstorms and a ton of ice storms, you know, so like snow plows, I mean, there might be a couple like in rotation, but that can take a really, really long time to clear the streets. You know, the city and a lot of the counties and suburbs aren't de-icing the roads. You know, they're not salting the roads, doing things like that throughout the year necessarily. So it seems like every year when there is a big storm that comes in, it's always somewhat catastrophic. Some areas get it worse than others. We live in an area with a lot of trees, so especially when we get these ice storms, you know, these trees are really wet, they freeze over, the branches get heavy, the branches fall, the branches are hitting power lines, people are getting power out, you know, for sometimes 2 or 3 days at a time. And so for some people, especially again, if you're not prepared, that can be really difficult to deal with. Now, on the flip side of this is, again, you're really going to get more consistency than not throughout the year. So it's not going to be the case where we do get these crazy winter events and there is this catastrophe and people are stranded, and mostly in general in the colder months and in the winter, you're gonna know what, sorry, I got a bug flying on my hand. You're gonna know what you're gonna get from day to day, and the majority of that is going to be gray, overcast, rain, maybe a little wind at times, you know, colder and colder weather throughout the winter. And then we get and then we start to get more of that sunny weather come in. All right, next thing to know is that winter travel is not only common, but it is a must. So some of the most frequented areas in Oregon and in the Pacific Northwest are absolutely beautiful in the winter. And when you are in the valley and you're living in and around Portland, again, you're gonna get some snow throughout the year, but it's not gonna be consistent. In some years, you're not really gonna get much of it at all, but there are a ton of places that you can do to drive out and see some snow. So Central Oregon and Mount Hood are probably going to be the biggest places for that. So out in Central Oregon, we have Bend, of course, and then there's resorts like Sun River and Black Butte. These are areas where you can rent a house, or maybe you'll meet somebody who has a house out there and vacation with them if you're lucky enough. But this is a beautiful area, completely different climate and landscape than you get in Western Oregon. So it's high desert. It's probably a lot more like a Denver, for example. Boise is a lot like this, where you get more like two primary seasons throughout the year, where you have a hot summer and then a really cold winter. So Central Oregon, beautiful place to get out to. Now it's going to take you a little bit longer to get out there. Going up and over the pass can be snowy and icy. This is where, again, if you have four-wheel drive, you're probably going to get by okay, but they will require chains or snow tires. You know, carrying that on you might not be a bad idea just to have. Mount Hood as well. So this is only going to be about 90 minutes from most anywhere in Portland. Now there again, you're going to want to budget a little extra time because so many people are going up there for skiing and snowboarding, inner tubing, or they just want to hit like Timberline Lodge and, you know, get brunch, get drinks, whatever it may be. That's a popular thing to do. And because of the road conditions and because of the traffic, again, you're going to want to budget a little more time going up to the mountain in the winter, but it is relatively quick and very accessible from Portland. And you can get a day like this in Portland, again, around Christmas time, where you know, it's pretty cold, but it's sunny. I mean, you know, the sun feels nice, but there's no snow. It doesn't feel very wintry. You can hop in your car, get up to the mountain, enjoy the snow pretty quickly. Even getting out to the coast. I mean, during the winter on the Oregon coast, the weather can be very moody and very dramatic, and a lot of people like to go out there and do storm watching, and the weather's really a little more mild in terms of temperature at the coast. So today here, it's, you know, it was like high 30s this morning, probably it'll end up being like mid 40s today. You know, on the coast, it's probably going to be about 5 degrees warmer. So again, you get a little more milder weather in terms of temperature. And the Oregon coast is a great place to visit in the winter. It's gonna be a little more of a quieter season too, so the beaches aren't gonna be as busy, the shops, the restaurants aren't gonna be as busy. So winter travel, again, is absolutely a must in Oregon, and it's certainly something that a lot of people do, and definitely something anyone moving here should do. All right, last and finally is athleisure is everywhere. So this is a time of year where people like to get cozy and bundle up. A lot of people are staying indoors and staying home more often, just because of the weather and how it can be. You know, again, a day like today, it's a great day to get out and walk around. Typically, I would be shooting a video like this at my desk in my office, but it was such a nice day, I had to get out and film something outside. You know, I wanted to show you guys, it's not all bad in the winter, although today is only the first day of winter, and it's all downhill from here. But overall, Portland is a pretty unpretentious, laid-back place. I think most of what you're gonna see this time of year, again, is more like athleisure, joggers and puffy coats, you know, and running shoes. Maybe you got your like waterproof winter running shoes, stuff like that. You're not gonna be looked down upon or judged, you know, if you are opting for a warmer, cozier look this time of year, because that really is what most people do, and that's gonna depend on maybe what your occupation is and, you know, what your office dress code is and everything. But in general, especially just going out and about, you don't see a ton of people dressed up, you know. So if you are moving, especially from a warmer climate, and you're thinking about what you need to do to maybe change your wardrobe and prepare for this time of year, like I was talking about earlier, just making sure you have some waterproof stuff is going to go a long way, because there's going to be those days where it is completely wet, and even just getting from your car in the parking lot to getting inside the store is absolutely miserable unless you have a good coat. If you are getting out for a walk, or maybe going to a football game, or whatever it may be, even those waterproof pants are going to come in handy. But don't be afraid overall to opt for comfort and being cozy, as opposed to being all dressed up this time of year. So if you are thinking about moving to Portland, and if you want to talk more about what it's like in the winter, what it's like in the fall, spring, or summer, or if you just want to talk about what it's like living here overall, give us a call, send us a text, shoot us an email, or click the link down below in the description of the video and schedule a Zoom call with us. And on that call, we can talk about, again, what it's like to live here, but also your budget and your timeline, maybe what neighborhoods or suburbs are gonna fit you best, and really start putting together that game plan for you. If this video is helpful, make sure to hit the like button. That helps us out a lot. If you wanna get more videos like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the little bell to get notified every time we drop a new video. As always, we really appreciate you watching. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.